Okay, now. 3, 2, 1. All right, how's everybody doing tonight? This is Zach. I'm going to be doing my first ever reaction video, and I'm probably going to not make a good choice in this, but we're going to do a reaction on Alex Jones' testimony today in court. There's a couple of things we're going to look at, a couple of things we're going to talk about. We're going to see what I think. I'm going to try and be as neutral as possible. Those of you that know me know that sometimes that's pretty hard. But either way, make sure if you guys are in here, chime in. Let me know what you think. Let's have a discussion about it. But let's keep everything as civil as possible, even if you don't agree with the other side, because you can always use everything as a teaching moment. Possibly, maybe, maybe not. Either way, all right, so get everything set up. And also, I have started using some new filters to try and make sure you don't hear any kind of fan noises, AC, dogs barking, things like that. So let me know how the audio comes in and out. What's the term? Out, in? Either way, let me know how the audio sounds, please. And we will move from there. Any suggestions also with my stream? I'm more than welcome to any kind of constructive or hell, even deconstructive criticism. Now, whether I listen is a different story, but moving forward. Okay, now go ahead and set up shop. All right, this is going to be pretty exciting. How many people actually get in here watching? All right, 1 second, just making sure everything's good and set up. Okay, and here we go.
Slowly spelling your last name for the record and the town in which you live.
Starting with my last name?
No, just state your name and spell your last name for
Okay.
the record.
I sometimes wonder, because he does that a lot actually, if it's on purpose or if maybe there's kind of, I don't know, a disability like a hearing problem maybe. But I mean, I sometimes have used that as a tactic so I can kind of think of what I'm going to say. But either way, moving on.
Alexander E. Jones, Jones.
And your town?
Oh, Austin, Texas.
So there's water here in the picture.
Oh, great, thank you.
If you want a bottle of water,
Thank you.
just let Mr. Jones get situated.
I wonder if they offered that water like that to make sure he doesn't have another coughing fit, but I guess that's neither here nor there. Moving on.
Thanks.
All right, you may inquire.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Jones, you're here pursuant to a subpoena today, is that correct?
Yes.
You were deposed in Connecticut earlier this year, and at that time, I arranged to have a subpoena served on you to assure that you would appear at this trial, correct?
I believe so.
And you could have come to this courtroom at any time since we've started if you wanted to, correct?
Yes.
Right. In fact, you know where the courthouse is because you've given press conferences right outside this courthouse yesterday and the day before, correct?
Yes.
But this is the first time you've been in the courtroom, yes?
Yes.
This is the first time you've been under oath in this
Yes.
case, right? And you understand that the families that I represent brought this case against you about 4 years ago
Yes.
to seek justice from this jury for what you did to them, correct? You understand that's why we're here?
I understand they sued me, yes.
Right. And this is an important case. You understand that?
I mean, that's an opinion.
Okay. You don't think this is an important case? That's a yes or no, sir.
It's not, I don't really think it is a case. I don't think it is a case.
Okay. We're going to there's going to be a lot of this today. And
Objection, Judge.
All right, so let's iron out the wrinkles now. If you can answer the question with a yes or no, Mr. Jones.
Oh, hey Darth, thanks for joining. So I'm actually doing a reaction video to the Alex Jones testimony that went on today. So I'm either going to help my streaming career or effectively tank it in one fell swoop. So we're going to see how interesting this is. You should actually stay see what happens too. Also, I do value your opinion, so anything you have to say, whether contradictory or not, please talk in chat. So let's keep going. So basically, the only thing you've missed so far is the standard, your name, why are we here, yada, yada, yada. And because he's not really evading any kind of questioning or anything, but he's not staying to the standard yes and no. So the judge is very nicely, like she said, ironing out the wrinkles. So moving on. Let me know if the audio is good, like if you can hear my audio, not just me talking, but the actual video. If you can't, it'll let me know how to adjust things. That's okay, it won't take that long. It's only like an 8-minute video.
If you don't know the answer, you can say you don't know the answer. And of course, if there's an objection, you'll just wait for me to rule on the objection.
This is an important case, isn't it, Mr. Jones?
I think this is historic.
Okay. Mr. Jones, the judge just gave you an instruction.
Objection.
To answer the question, yes or
Objection,
no.
return to court.
So I'll
Should we do it again?
do this. So the question, Mr. Jones, is it an important case? And the answers that you can give are yes, no, or I don't know.
Now, the thing is, I'm pretty sure he's been in enough courtrooms that he actually knows court procedure. So, like, I don't know the guy personally, but I kind of think he's just showing his ass. But, I mean, that's my opinion. So, you guys let me know what you think, but I don't know. The reason why I say that, and maybe I'm just projecting here, but as Darth, who has known me for a long time, can probably vouch, that is a tactic I have used before when I'm just trying to be a dick because I don't really care what you have to say. And I think, what you have to say is just like frivolous. Like, I'm here against my will. I'm going to make this as hard as possible for you. When he clearly asked a yes or no question. Now, I'm sure there are going to be some people that'll argue with me, and that's perfectly fine, that nothing is ever black and white, and, it takes more than just a yes or no to answer this, that, and the other, and I understand that. But, as they have stated before this, during this, yes or no. That's really all they're looking for.
Yes.
You can understand why it would be very important to the families I represent, correct?
Yes.
But it's also important to you, isn't it?
Yes.
What is he
Because
looking
you've been
at?
using this case as a marketing opportunity over the past couple of weeks, haven't you?
No.
Mr. Jones, you created a new website on Infowars.com called Kangaroo Court, just so your followers can watch this case, haven't you?
That's not a website.
What would you call a web page on Infowars.com?
It's a page.
Okay, page. Thank you for that correction. There's a web page on Infowars.com that you've titled Kangaroo Court, so that your followers can watch what's happening here, right?
Yes, that's my opinion.
Okay. And why don't we pull up, actually, Exhibit 504. This is, just for the witness, please. Exhibit 504, there's a screen down there for you, Mr. Jones. You see that?
Yes.
Okay, is that the Kangaroo Court?
Right? I don't know. Maybe it's, I'd have to like look at videos of him like, years and years ago. Maybe it's from all the yelling. But I mean, I'm still trying to figure out what he's looking at when he's like looking up there and over there and not like looking at who's talking to him. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Page that you've had up and running?
Yes.
Okay, I'd offer it, Your Honor.
No objection.
And you see here,
I think I'm going to call him
you've
Batman from
been
now on because of you,
clipping
Darth.
testimony that's been happening in this courtroom over the last couple of weeks, haven't you?
I have not been clipping, no.
You don't do that yourself. You have your employees do that.
I'm not even directing it.
Oh, okay, so you didn't know that this was happening?
Objection, argumentative.
Like he's brooding. Maybe you
No,
need
I've
to
not
be
been
doing the
there.
reaction
I don't
video
direct
instead
most
of
the
me.
headlines.
They just know that this is what you want, right?
Objection calls for speculation.
Overruled.
Ooh.
I'm not supposed to talk about the prior rulings.
Excuse me, sir.
So how do I answer why I think something's a kangaroo court if I'm not supposed to say why I think it is?
The question that I just asked you, sir, was whether you knew that your employees wanted to do this, whether they knew that you wanted them to do
Renew
this.
my objection on speculation.
And it's the same ruling. Do you understand that question, sir, or do you want it played back or repeated? Because I want to make sure you're answering the question that's asked.
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure they agree with me. That's why they put that headline up.
And right above there, as you're saying, watch highlights from the Alex Jones Sandy Hook Kangaroo Court hearings, you're running an ad for Brain Force Plus, right?
Yes.
Orders a day, right? This is what you're showing your audience. The next generation of advanced neural activation and nootropics. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And how much is that going for on InfoWarsStore.com right now with the sale?
I don't know.
And ever since,
You're telling me that he doesn't know every nut, every bolt of like anything that has to do with that company. I refuse to believe it. That dude, before because he's fixing to lose all his money. I mean, let's just, we already know what the end result of this is all going to be. But that dude, you cannot tell me it was not Scrooge McDucking and swimming in his pile of loot. I refuse to believe that. This dude literally probably got inspiration from Scrooge McDuck, and I bet you he is always in a bathing suit taking a nosedive into gold coins. Man, I wish I could meme that up there right now. Anyway, moving forward.
this trial started, and you've been calling it a kangaroo court yourself, right?
Yes.
Right. And you've called this judge a tyrant, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you actually use that word a lot with your audience. You call people tyrants, don't you?
Only when they act like it.
Okay.
That's an
And
interesting answer.
One way that you've been conveying to your audience that Judge Bellis has been acting like a tyrant is by showing her with lasers coming out of her eyes, right? You know you did that?
I didn't direct that. First time I saw it was in court.
Oh, so you've been watching this?
Yeah, I've been watching.
Okay. You could have just watched from the stage.
Objection, argumentative.
Sustained.
But you've been broadcasting your show during this trial, haven't you?
I have changed some of my show.
Let's pull up 477.
Is this full?
This should be in already.
It is a full exhibit.
And what was it, Ron, 477?
477, Your Honor.
This is the tyrant you've been telling your audience about, right?
Oh, wow.
Yep.
I'm barred from saying why I said it. So
I didn't
can't-
ask you why.
Oh,
This is the tyrant you've been telling your audience about, right?
I believe. I believe.
Sir?
So, Mr.
It's a yes or no question.
Look at me. It's yes, no, or I don't know.
I don't know
What?
The answer is you don't know.
about that. I didn't make that.
This is the tyrant pictured here that you've been telling your audience about, right?
I thought you were asking me again about the image or about me believing this is tyrannical.
See, he knows what he's actually doing. That's what's just comical about this. I'm surprised people aren't just going crazy in here. But I will say this, he is very good at it. I mean, whether you like him or not, he's very good at some red herring shit. You know, look over here, don't look over here. Moving on.
Can you restate the question, please?
Sure. I'll restate it for the third time for you.
Objection to the comments, move to strike.
This is,
And we have one motion. Okay, thank you.
this picture right here, that's Judge Bellis, correct?
Yes.
Lasers coming out of her eyes, correct?
Yes.
That's who you've been referring to as a tyrant to your audience, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and you refer to tyrants to your audience a lot, right?
Some.
Right. Tyrants are people who are going to oppress others and strip them of their freedoms, correct?
That's a common definition.
Right. And
What is he looking at? I can't figure it out to
Not
save my
just-
life.
call
Chat, you gotta help me
Bellis
with
a
this.
tyrant.
What is he
Would you say
looking
that
at?
This whole thing, what's happening here, is part of a plot, isn't it?
Objection, motion to eliminate.
No, not the whole thing. I think the jury's
Motion to
real.
eliminate.
So, can I have that question again?
Don't worry, I think there's a
Yeah,
few
I think
more we
what I
can
asked
click
you-
on.
I understand.
Thank you.
All right, there was a couple more. think it was that
you
one.
encourage your audience to give you money is in cryptocurrency donations, right?
Yes.
Try not to
And
do all
I think
caps,
we
my
have
guy. But yes, that is
that
extremely
page.
funny.
Yeah, that is an exhibit. And you have a page on your website that's just for cryptocurrency donations, right?
Infowars.com/crypto.
All right. Flat out, the most shameless plug I've ever seen. Ever. That dude's got some stones to do a plug in a courtroom. That's like unprecedented. Someone in chat go find me another example because I do not think it exists. I don't. You can't convince me. That's love him or hate him. That's funnier than hell. Holy God.
A little advertisement just there.
Well, we're fighting the deep state. We need money.
All right. And that'll end up as a clip for you on your show tonight, won't it?
Objection, move to strike, Judge.
Won't it?
Objection, move to strike again.
I'm sorry, when you turn around to look at the camera and talk, I can't hear you.
I'm sorry. That will end up as a clip on your show tonight.
Objection.
Your advertisement for
move
your
to
cryptocurrency page.
Overruled.
You know, I mean, people want to keep us in the fight. So I mean, I hope whoever the big whales are that have given us money before keep doing it.
We'll just keep minting money as you're in this courtroom,
strike.
won't we?
Objection, Judge.
All right, let's move on.
I mean,
And
people care about the First Amendment.
So he's actually getting to that lawyer right now. Like you can tell he's starting to get pissed off. Like I understand what he's doing, trying to paint him as a bad guy, but I do have to agree with the objection. Alex is really good at making himself look like shit. So you don't need to try and facilitate that. Just ask what you need to ask, get the answers, the truthful answers, hopefully, and move forward.
And in the cryptocurrency page, people can give you in Bitcoin, yes?
Yes.
Ethereum, right?
Yes.
And it says support the InfoWar, right?
Yes.
But there's nothing on that page that tells your audience that when they give you cryptocurrency, it goes directly into your personal account, is there?
Oh, I've told the listeners that.
Mr. Jones, listen to my question. On the page, the crypto page, where you say support the InfoWar, there's nothing on there that says that the crypto donations go directly into your personal account, is there?
And then directly to the company account. That's how crypto works.
Okay. Do we have the page? 516. Oh, I don't think it's admitted yet. Take a look at your screen.
I know the page.
Okay, well, I need to admit it to you. Is that it?
Yes.
I offer it, Your Honor.
No objection, Judge, on that foundation.
And that is exhibit what, Ron?
I believe you said 516.
So ordered.
This is it. Give crypto. Fund InfoWars. Sponsor us with Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, right?
Yes.
And then it gives you another of, I'm sorry, you can back out of that. It gives you all these different cryptocurrencies you can give, right?
Yes.
So just to be real clear, this is a yes or no. When somebody gives cryptocurrency over this website, it goes directly into your crypto wallet.
Chat, what do you think about this right
Yes.
now?
Yes.
You got an opinion?
And when that happens, you have full and sole access to that asset, right?
Yes.
It's password protected.
Yes.
And
Hey, Spooky.
earlier this year, in a number of donations, $8 million in Bitcoin was donated through this page to you personally, correct?
I think it was 9 million.
9 million.
Oh, I mean,
And
let's
you
not
cashed out about 5.
let's not split hairs once we get into the millions. But anyway, off subject. So apparently somebody won that big ass Powerball too. It was like 2 people won the $1 billion one. They're gonna get like what, 350 mil across both of them. Freaking nuts. But anyway, moving on.
5 million of that, right?
No, that's when you deposed me. We've cashed all but $60,000 out, and it's all been put into InfoWars.
Okay, so let's just get this real clear. So your sworn testimony to this jury and anybody else who may be interested is that that full amount that went to you personally, you then put right into Free Speech Systems. That's your sworn testimony?
I don't have the exact accounting, but do the math. There's $60,000 left in the wallet, which is public. Anybody can go look at it. You act like it's all secret. The whole point of it's public. And so there's the wallet. And then that's how my IT folks set it up. That's how you do it, is you've got your personal wallet, and then I put it in my private bank account, and then I put it into the company. And I think we put all the money I put in my account into Free Speech Systems, because it's been, I'm not allowed to say the rulings, but it's trying to shore it up. And then there's 60,000 left, hoping it goes back up, that we're waiting. But I don't think it's going to go back up for a while, and we're probably going to dump that out next week and put it in Free Speech
So
Systems.
just to wrap this up, your sworn testimony is that everything other than $60,000 of that $8 million that you got went into your personal account, and then you transferred into Free Speech Systems. Yes or no?
Yes, other than bonuses, $100,000 of bonuses went to the IT people and some of the graphics crew. So they got $100,000.
You got none of it yourself, is what you're saying.
Yes, and it'd be nice if we could put on evidence,
No.
block from it. I could probably get you those numbers. Would you like those?
No, what I want you to do is offer sworn testimony that
Objection,
none of
Judge.
that money
Objection.
went to
Mr.
you.
James, why don't we just rephrase the question?
I got a new question for you. I just want to be crystal clear. None of that money ended up with you personally. Yes or no?
Well, you'll say technically. Well, technically, it went in my bank account, and then I put it into Free Speech Systems. That's how it works.
None of it remains in your personal possession.
I'd have to do the exact accounting. I think it may be negative. I mean, I think I may put more money in.
All right, Mr. Johnson.
Well, Chris, you're trying to.
Well, first of all,
Yeah. Mr. Maddie.
I think we can close that.
Okay.
Very interesting. So, I don't know. What do you guys think? So far, I mean, it's like pulling teeth. Crap.
10 years ago, I thought San Diego had it.
Robert Parker's sitting right here.
Oh, and if y'all are interested in any of this, like you can see right here, just go to Law and Crime on YouTube. I want them to get their due, because they posted all of this for me to react to. Not really having too much reaction other than the little bits right now, because it's really kind of hard to follow, because trying to parse what he's saying / not saying / evading / this, that, and the other. I mean, that's what the court's going to figure out, is if he is shady. I mean, of course, I have my opinion. I mean, I think he is, but, like, I have no proof. I'm not a lawyer. All I can do is just watch what we're watching. But, I mean, I do, but I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people that are very upset with me. But, like I said, it's a conversation. Instead of, like, slinging mud everywhere, present cases, present evidence, and use it as a teaching moment. If you do not think he's shady and you're on the other side of the fence.
He's real, isn't he?
Yes?
And for years, you put a target on his back, didn't you?
Objection to the form of that, Judge.
Well, I mean,
Didn't you?
I've admitted I've said his name. It's true. I haven't said other people's names. I know who they are.
You put a target on his back just like you did every single parent and loved one sitting here, didn't you?
No, I didn't.
No, you
Objection,
didn't.
that's argumentative, there's no basis.
Let me look something up real quick. So, I wonder if that is badgering the witness. Anyway, or he could just be getting very dramatic. The lawyer, I mean.
Speculative, there is no foundation for it, and it's inappropriate in
Let's
this
move on.
context.
These are real people. You know that,
Objection,
Mr.
Judge.
Jones?
I think you just told them to move on.
Just like all the Iraqis, but you liberals kill and love.
Come on.
You're unbelievable. You switch on emotions on and off when you want. It's just ambulance chasing.
Why don't you show a little respect? Mr.
Objection, Judge. I think that if you get what you give in this court. Objection.
You have families in this courtroom here that lost children, sisters, wives, moms.
Is this a struggle session? Are we in China? I've already said I'm sorry hundreds of times, and I'm done saying I'm sorry. I didn't generate this. I wasn't the first person to say it. American gun owners didn't like being blamed for this, as the left did, so we rejected it mentally and said it must not be true. But I legitimately thought it might have been staged, and I stand by that, and I don't apologize for it.
And don't apologize, Mr. Jones. Please don't apologize.
No, I've already apologized to the parents over and over
Because
again.
we know
I
you're
don't apologize to you.
Objection,
Don't apologize to
objection.
you.
See, this is totally crazy. Like, what's upsetting is the judge is just letting this go on, and it really serves no purpose. Everyone knows what he's done. Everyone knows how the family feels. And I understand that you, in the heat of the moment, especially when you truly do feel that, you know, you or who you represent has been slighted. I mean, hell, I'm even guilty of getting crazy like that. But it doesn't help anybody. Like, if you know or you truly believe that Alex Jones is a piece of shit, just continue with the trial. Prove your point. Get them their money. Everybody wins. He's always going to do what he's going to do because there's always going to be people that back him up, just like there's always going to be people that back other people up. So really the best you can do is just get the family their money. But I can't really talk shit because I'm not a lawyer. And so my point is really invalid to a point. But anyway.
You're going to do it again.
Objection, Judge.
Aren't you?
Objection.
not.
Objection,
I
argumentative.
don't apologize to you.
Well, it's hard for me to get a word in edgewise.
It is, but I
Because
think
you're
It's your courtroom. That should never be a problem. Ever. So, I don't know much about the judge. I would have to do research and see like who she is and look at prior cases. But it does seem to me that to a point she doesn't even have control of the courtroom, or she's purposely letting this just go on. Because at any point in time, she can pretty much just stand up and tell everybody, shut the fuck up.
there's
client
one
is-
officer of the court and one witness and
So
an officer of the
why
court
don't
heard
we
the
move
objection.
on, and I can't rule on your attorney's, excuse me,
I'm sorry, it's screwing me.
I can't rule on your attorney's objection.
Understand.
Keep talking, and he may have legitimate.
You're right, I'm sorry, I'm trying.
Because there's going to be another Robbie Parker, isn't there?
Objection, Judge.
No.
Sustained.
There's going to be another.
Objection.
Can I get my questions out?
When it's the same form, second time, the inference is it's going to also be objection.
I didn't say Parkland was fake. I didn't say Uvalde was. And no, okay, so that's a fact.
What did you say about Aurora?
Objection.
What, before this?
What did you say about
Excuse me,
I'm
are you
objecting to the
objecting to
question.
your
I believe it was a real
client?
shooting, but he was in a mind control program, just like Theodore Kaczynski. Sorry.
Are you objecting to your client's answers, Attorney
Both, Judge,
Pattis?
both the answers and the questions. This is a courtroom, not a drama, not a
So
struggle.
here's what I'll tell you, Mr. Jones.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
You're in a court of law. You have to follow the rules as the attorneys do or officers of the court, and they are accountable to me, and I will deal with them. However, while there were media in the room, this is not a press conference. This is clearly not your show, and you need to respect the process.
I understand.
Whether you like it or not, you have to follow the rules.
I understand, Your Honor.
So just take a breath, have a little water if you like, and wait for the next question.
Judge, I believe there's another admonishment as.
Oh, counsel, I'll see you on a sidebar. If I admonish
It's off.
anybody, it's gonna be both of you, okay? You're shouting over your client, you just have to stop. Okay, so let's get the next question and let's move forward.
I mean, how was that a sideboard if I heard it anyway? Anybody that's a lawyer or knows any kind of law, let me know.
One word basis, hearsay, irrelevant, what is it? One word,
Argumentative.
overruled.
Are you saying I'm going to shoot people? Like, how do I know there's been another mass shooting? Like, it's my fault. People think I killed the kids. That's my answer to you.
Let me see if I can ask my question again.
Sure.
You expect there's gonna be another mass shooting, don't you?
There probably will be.
And when there is, you're gonna be ready to pounce, right?
Objection,
No.
No?
relevance,
All right. Why don't you look at your screen there, sir? Pull up Exhibit 76, Mr. Jones, please.
Say 76?
Yes.
Yes, that is full exhibit.
Pull it for everybody. This is your homepage, right?
Make sure you check out the Law and Crime channel, guys. They did a pretty good job with this.
This is Mikhail Gorbachev, right? He died about 3 weeks ago, didn't he?
Yes.
Why don't you pull up
Yeah.
the right side of the page.
Well, I agree that he does seem like a jerk, but I have to play devil's advocate in this. In his defense, like, I know it's a very emotional subject. I mean, I can sit here and talk shit like this all I want, but like if it was my kids up there, I'd probably be way worse than that lawyer. But it's not sure. That's funny, Darth. But anyway, in his defense, it really just needs to be question, answer, question, answer, question, answer. And they keep getting sidetracked and or bird walking or whatever you want to call it because emotions start flaring. And it really needs to be question, answer, question, answer, question, answer.
A little bit bigger, please, just the part survey there. And you're asking your audience that comes to your page to take a survey, aren't you? Correct?
Yes, I didn't write the survey, but
And the survey is,
good questions.
what will be the most likely deep state false flag ahead of the midterms, right?
Yes.
What's the first option?
Mass shooting, but I didn't write the poll.
Excuse me, sir. Mass shooting?
Yes.
And so when the next mass shooting comes, you're already conditioning your audience to believe that it's a fake staged event, aren't you?
objection,
Well, false flag doesn't necessarily mean staged. It means they let it happen.
How many people responded to this survey, sir?
I don't know. Wasn't looking at it.
But there's going to be a mass shooting. And you're inviting your audience, even now, even after all this, to suspect that the next people, the next Robbie Parker, the next family are actors too, aren't you?
objection, argumentative.
No, I didn't say Uvalde was staged. I said the police did that for 77 minutes. And then the others either power grid collapse, terror plot, bombing, COVID.
Right. Could
The
be
U.S.
any of
government
these.
said the Russians.
It could be any of these, right, Mr. Jones?
The U.S. government said the Russians staged a false flag to start the Ukraine war, and I believe it.
Right, Your Honor.
Yeah, they're real.
So, Mr. Jones, whenever the next mass shooting strikes, we can be pretty sure what you're going to do, right?
Objection, speculative.
Yes or no?
I didn't write that poll, but I stand behind it. I've never seen that poll, but I think that's a reasonable question.
I'm done, Your Honor.
All right, so we are going to end here for the day. Ron will collect your notepads. I know you're tired of hearing me say it, but it is just so important that you continue to make all reasonable efforts to make sure that you avoid any and all media coverage of this trial or anything or anyone that is in any way, shape, or form related to it. Please be careful when you leave the court.
But see, how do they do that? We'll look at that one in a second. But I don't think that's reasonable, to be entirely honest, because I mean, unless you're just going to take everyone's phone away, you're going to lock them in a room in like a barracks, like a military barracks, and just not let them talk to anybody. It's almost impossible. I mean, this stuff was up, what, 7 hours, 6 hours, 4 hours ago. It's in your face. There's like nothing you can do about it. I don't know.
With the sale.
I don't know.
So this one is going to... Oh, we already saw that one. I apologize. Moving on.
Okay.
So we alerted the court.
What do you mean, Darth, that they did it to someone up there? I'm actually curious about that. I know there's like a delay, so I'll keep going and type I will. continue that conversation.
Be, an unusual Fifth Amendment issue in this case arising from the law of the case. Mr. Jones has suffered a disciplinary default in this case, resulting in his inability to contest liability. The court has established during the law of the case that
Can we just back up for a second? So the question wasn't about Mr. Jones specifically, although maybe it was getting there. The question was, if someone spread that claim to millions and millions of people, one would expect people to be damaged. There's no...
no, you're missing a predicate in there, falsely. If they falsely spread this information.
Right, but this is not talking about Mr. Jones.
Yes, I do remember when the protesters locked down Ottawa. I do remember that, and it really kind of congested it, like to a point where it was making things very, very difficult for people like to go to work, leave work, this, that, and the other. I'm sure there's probably, like, there was pollution was probably a big problem too, because I mean all those rigs throwing diesel out, and even with all the EPA stuff, I mean it still throws a whole bunch of stuff out there. It probably wasn't too good. Really? I did not know that. So the one that organized it had a media blackout gag order. Like, wow. That's very interesting. And for any of my viewers, a little bit of what Darth is saying does hold weight, because he knows certain people that are in privileged positions to know things. So I'm not saying I won't research it at a later time and date, but I'm pretty confident in what he has to say, to be entirely honest. But that, if like I said, I always have to say allegedly, you know me, but allegedly, if that is true, that is craziness. Oh, it was in the general media also? Gotcha. How come, I'm also wondering why that wasn't kind of covered down here. I mean, is it just because it was more of a Canadian thing and we just don't care about non-American shit? Or, I mean, I think that would kind of been relevant to know during that whole thing.
Jones or free speech systems, this was a hypothetical.
He's not an expert, and he can't be questioned as an expert. He's here as a fact witness. And the fact that this is an attempt to sidestep the ruling and once again have the motion in limine be used as a sword rather than a shield. We didn't make motions in limine to limit this material. The plaintiffs did. The contention here is that Mr. Jones, that the law of the case is that the court has concluded these statements were false, not because they were litigated, but because of failure to comply.
I'm sorry, I'm so distracted. If you look in the window where that guy, the lawyer that's talking is, there is a tree just blowing its ass off left and right. It's distracting the crap out of me. That's my ooh squirrel, ooh butterfly OCD kicking in. I apologize.
Was discovered. We can't talk about that. The plaintiffs have earned the right to call him a liar in open court. That whether we agree or not, that's the law of the case. What they've not done is earn the right to put him in a position where he either disagrees with their characterization of him, thus running afoul of a prior ruling of the court, or agrees with them, thus committing perjury. We would go further and say that if we get to a point where an invocation is necessary, they're not entitled to an adverse inference because that is giving undue weight
So,
to a
Attorney
disciplinary
Pattis,
default.
what would be wrong if his answer, his true answer, how would it violate the order, is if he says he denies the extent of the damage?
Well,
I don't know that that's responsive to the question, candidly.
yeah, so, Your Honor, I think what's happening here is we had a sidebar to avoid a proper assertion. I said I'll do it a different way. And so I came back here, and instead of telling Mr. Jones that he had lied, I said if one did, that would cause damage.
Well, who cares?
Well, I think
Yeah.
it's got to be asked in a way that, and I don't want to tell you how to ask it, but
You know, this is,
no, let me just
I'm sorry.
get it out. Where we're not putting Mr. Jones in a pickle, But where the jury understands that the issue's been decided, which they've been told many, many times now. So can you think of a way to do it along those lines? So here, the court has already determined that liability is not an issue. The jury is just determining damages. And so what's the question for Mr. Jones?
No, there is no, first of all, he's a defendant. This isn't impeachment
just
on
asking
credibility grounds.
what the question is, though.
The question is, rather than ask him directly, where he now thinks, a truthful answer would somehow incriminate himself, I've asked him whether or not one would expect that if one were to do these things, it would cause harm. Now, Attorney Pattis is still free to argue at any point that the harm caused here wasn't what the plaintiffs alleged. That's what he's apparently claiming. But Mr. Jones's response to that question, if the answer is yes, one would expect that type of harm, that doesn't violate the court's orders, and it's not false. If the answer is no, one wouldn't expect that. That doesn't violate the court's orders, and it's not.
I got a question for anybody in chat that knows the legal system. I understand you need to get words out and things like that, but like if one person is talking, doesn't the other one need to kind of shut up unless they're going to object to something, and literally it's just objection and then why you object and then move on?
False, right? So either one.
But like I said, I'm not a lawyer, so I don't really honestly understand, court etiquette. But this is interesting.
He can testify truthfully without violating the court's order and putting himself in contempt.
Or I don't know.
Or I don't know.
All right, so
The
how
problem
does,
with that, Judge, is it's argumentative in tone. He's not an expert, and so what one does isn't what we're
But
here to
that's-
show.
but-
We're here to show what he did.
right, but
And the
that's a
purpose
different,
is being
no,
offered to
Attorney
get
Pat,
Man, he's talking over the judge. I can't believe she's let it go on this long. Because I'm from Arkansas originally, and there were a couple of judges. I cannot remember the one judge's name that was, dude, everybody was terrified of that guy. But back in my day, judges would have just put the kibosh on that like right then and there. That's just wild.
Attorney Pattis, how many times do I have to say when I'm speaking, you stop? You have been a member of the bar for a long, long time, and you know the rules in all the courts. So, your objection was that it was a motion in limine issue, I thought, that it would require him to lie. I now hear that it's a different objection, that it's speculative, he's not an expert.
I'm waiting to finish, so I don't want to follow your order. I have been in offshore court for a long time. As you know, I insist on making my record, so thank you. And I'm sorry that I stepped on your question. I thought I wasn't done. What I was trying to say was the following. I objected because he's trying to get an evocation in the jury's presence, which is entirely improper, without permission of the court. I objected further because he was asking Mr. Jones a question that places him on.
Take it easy, Darth. Thank you for joining. I really appreciate it.
Outside the jury's presence, he's now switched it to one would expect. That is simply not relevant. That's argumentative. He's a fact witness. His state of mind about his conduct is.
I can't disagree with that, so I will sustain the objection. And where does that leave us with respect to possible future invocation?
If there's going to be an invocation, I've requested it be prelude to it be outside the jury's presence so that I can argue about whether the plaintiffs are entitled.
All right, so how does that work procedurally? So
Motion.
there's a question. You're going to invoke on his behalf?
I can't do that. I don't think. It's
I
certainly
think-
the jury's presence. I'll simply say
think in a
motion
civil
about
case.
evocation.
I think
Motion
in a-
about evocation.
Okay. Does that work, Attorney Matty?
Sure, that's fine.
Okay, so if that happens, Mr. Jones, if that happens, just put the brakes on, okay? So she can do that. Okay, let's bring the jury out. So, can I just see counsel in the meantime? So I can count on one hand how many times I've argued. That's in there. That's a positive
No,
note.
look, Judge, here's the deal. I'm an advocate. I get lost in the moment. You've admonished me, and I'm working on it.
You're standing up for your objections now. Right?
I'm a member of Advocates Anonymous, Judge. If I warm too much to my client's cause, that's why courts are here to ensure fair trials.
We're good. Okay, welcome back. As promised, we were pretty quick, so thank you for your patience. Please be seated. The record will reflect that our entire panel has returned. Let's give them a minute to settle in. And whenever you're ready, Attorney Madden, please.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, so from those 4 videos I think we did, that was actually pretty interesting. Yeah, that was actually very interesting. So thank you for joining me on my first React video. I know there wasn't too much, but this is actually like a serious thing, not a funny thing. But I am actually quite interested to see what people have to say moving forward with this, because I know I actually have friends that are on both sides of the aisle with this. You know, people that will take up for Alex and people that won't take up for Alex. And I always think the truth's always somewhere in the middle. Of course, that I do agree that he is wrong for having denied that it actually happened, even if in the end he was forced to admit that it did. But I'm not even entirely convinced that he truly believes it. I think he's just trying to run damage control. But either way, I do think the parents have every right to be upset, and I do wish them the best of luck in life. But it will be very interesting to see how this plays out. But honestly, if I had to play soothsayer for a minute, I really do think they're going to rake him over the coals on this one. Like, he's going to be the sacrificial lamb, because I think that this case will probably set a precedent for others that try to be conspiracy theorists. But I mean, I could be wrong. How about let's discuss it, see what you guys think. I'll be posting this on my YouTube channel, so we'll be able to discuss in the comment section below. And I want to thank you guys again for watching. So have a good one. Peace.